Only a few cars of a similar size offer such good visibility. This X5 almost feels like it can shrink itself at times. So you can get through tight spots where surprisingly it always manages to fit. Or maybe it's because you can judge its size so well from behind the wheel. Today, don't expect our usual kind of test. Today, I'll open up a little about my private life. Welcome to Automotive. You ask about this a lot, so we decided to make a small exception. I often get asked what I actually drive in my free time. What cars do I use? Show us your cars, tell us about them. Look, we won't show all the cars, but we can make an exception. We can show the X5, which I've been driving for a long time, or rather my family has, mainly my better half. I'd like to explain the reasons behind why it's here. This kind of X5, and maybe I'd like to share a little bit of myself with you too. That means today we'll look at the car through my eyes, as someone who chooses based on completely different criteria in the end than what we evaluate in car tests. Because tests are one thing, and even though you might feel like we know each other well, like we're friends, sometimes I get that impression from the messages I receive, and I'm grateful for that. I'm glad it comes across that way to you. But in reality, I'm a completely different person than the one who just drives around like a psychopath. In reality, I'm the kind of person who appreciates that this thing can do long trips at 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers. I appreciate that it has comfortable seats, among other things. We'll talk about that today. That's why, in the end, it's the 2025 version. It's a January build. xDrive 30D mild hybrid, 48-volt system. That means 210 kWh. In translation, that's 286 horsepower, 650 Newton meters of torque. But mainly, I'm really more of a calm soul, so let's get to it. And this isn't an X5 test. It's a list of what I see as positives about this car. And on the other hand, what I see as negatives, which considering how much this car costs, it actually has quite a few of in the end. Soft close, you know. Yeah, that's how it is, like. It's a bit of a different ball game. It always makes me happy. For example, yesterday I filled up exactly 70 liters of diesel in a completely modern car. Actually, from last year, you can see the real, and I mean real range on a tank. 1,200 kilometers? Yes, you can even drive a bit faster with it. At that point, you're at 9 to 9.5 liters per 100 kilometers. And it won't make it to 1,200. But in my case, when I use this car mostly for relaxed trips, when I'm the one driving, that's just how it is. And I think that's still unbeatable for now, with a different type of fuel. And it's really, or not really, it's pleasant. It's extremely unobtrusive when you're traveling with that car, because you're not constantly figuring out where to refuel next. What I also like, and I have to say BMW got it right, compared to other cars that I often film with, here, with just one button, you can turn off the annoying speed limit warning, which, yes, sometimes you just forget. You go over 52, we're human. Maybe it goes up to 55, never mind. At the end of the village, it would already be beeping at you, but it doesn't always read the additional signs correctly. So if it's something for trucks, bim, 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 all the time, I turn it off. And I also turn off the lane departure warning the same way. In fact, that button doesn't deactivate the assistant that would brake for you if there was an obstacle or something dangerous, but I want to get to that. They set it up so well that you don't need to turn it off, unless you're an outright aggressive driver who speeds around like crazy and tailgates cars dangerously close. There's really no need to do that in this car at all. It's fine, really. There are places where I know Volkswagens, everything beeps, Kia, even more so, all these things, Mercedes. The last time it was totally confused, Habach car. Because you're driving toward a parked car right in front of you and then you swerve just before it. Since you're driving like this in the lane, the cars get scared, they think you're going to crash into the obstacle. The BMW is totally fine. In this regard, definitely yes. Let's also talk a bit about the costs, so we're not just chatting for fun. X5 2025, this engine, if you already have your bonuses, we're talking about liability insurance costing around 7,000 CZK, some basic packages, Of course, you can add more, and if you want to have comprehensive insurance, which is definitely recommended considering the price, then we're talking about roughly 40 to 60,000 CZK. It depends if you know someone at the insurance company, if you're able to get a better price, but realistically around 40,000 is not a bad offer. You can even get it for a bit less. And I think considering the price and the value of the car, it's actually quite a justifiable amount. Yes, if you don't have any bonuses, they'll quote you a crazy amount. But it's worth mentioning that the X5 isn't really a car for beginner drivers. It's a very expensive car. It has very comfortable front seats. I have to say that in our case, where the seat also has an adjustable upper backrest section, it can really support me very well both in the lumbar area and in the shoulder blade area. And after a long trip, you don't feel tired from those seats. But what does make you tired? That's from the way X5 drives on bumpy, wavy, or broken roads. This car is almost half as bad again in that situation compared to a regular 5 Series wagon, for example with active stabilizers, which would just glide beautifully with the adaptive suspension. We're talking about the G31, over that road in an absolutely wonderful way. No, this car jerks around, it's suddenly stiff, actually quite nervous, and it feels like it has a short wheelbase, which isn't true at all. In reality, at that moment, the car isn't pleasant at all. On the highway, it's very quiet. We have double-layered windows, we can touch them. Both of those layers are very thick. Quite often, the inner one is thinner, and then, from what I've experienced in cars, it's not that noticeable. This car is really a very quiet little room. As soon as you drive it normally and you're not really speeding on the highway, I don't know, just drive the way I do, it's absolutely great. But when it comes to the handling, it's just brutal. And why is that? The answer is simple. The word is body roll. BMW wants the X5, and it doesn't matter what tires it has, to simply drive more capably. So that it's a car that can, in corners, not just compete, but absolutely match regular low cars, which to a certain extent it does. That's true, but it's still a struggle with weight like crazy. It's simply a car that weighs 2.3 tons, in our case, 2,330 kilos, and you can feel it. In what way is this car practical, on the other hand? For that, you need to get out, look at it from the outside, and simply say, yes, even if you're not 70, you'll appreciate how easy it is to get in. Or on the other hand, if you're young, or if someone you care about is young, then definitely young families. I know exactly what I'm talking about now. How great it is. I've seen it myself. My friend has an X7 when you take the child, who is very small, and you just put them in like this, without having to lower them down. Your back doesn't hurt when you're a mom with a child. I really don't like this style of car, but it has undeniable advantages, and the biggest one is in the back. I'm really glad that the X5, even in the G05 generation, has kept its extremely practical cargo cover. It's practical, it can even slide nicely into the floor, it's great. 650 liters, I think about 1,870 liters, with the second row of seats folded down. So no, it's not the type of SUV with a small trunk. But most importantly, it still has the historically split tailgate, which isn't impractical and doesn't slow you down. When you're loading groceries, you can just open the top part. When you're leaving, you can close the whole thing with one button and go. But the lower part of the tailgate, when you're going out into nature, heading to the mountains, need to change shoes, or going skiing, my God, it's such a helper. It can even hold a bigger adult. It's honestly an absolutely awesome feature. There's something to it, yeah, to this concept. What I personally don't like, since we're talking about the car from the outside, and you wouldn't notice this at first glance because long-term use reveals more things, is that when you use the X5 like an X5, that doesn't mean just driving to the mall for shopping, but actually taking the car on rough roads or in places where there's mud. To work well with aerodynamics and also bring air to the brakes, it's got holes here on the side. You can spray this out with a pressure washer. I did it yesterday for about 100, but I can see it still didn't work. A lot of dirt gets stuck there, flying in from the front wheel, down here. See, my hands are still muddy. And there's exactly the same spot back here, where it's not open all the way through, there's no hole. But again, when mud flies up, it just jumps in here and gets stuck. You end up carrying it around for no reason. It's really annoying. And I have to be honest, this car in mud or snow, considering it has such big tires, 275 in the front, 285 in the back, it tends to start sliding much sooner than more common cars. It basically starts to skid much earlier. When it's slippery, you really have to be careful, because the X5 with its big momentum and wide tires can slide down a hill much sooner. On the other hand, it goes uphill without any problem, and those 20s, I personally wouldn't want bigger wheels because for me, this is absolutely optimal. And one more thing, so that the car, or rather the wheels, don't stick out when you have a bigger summer set, so they don't stick out from the car, there's this plastic thing here. And that's it, but here you just have a rock under it, right on the paint. I'll try to remove it somehow, it's really crazy, because around the edges of the fenders, which are plastic, mud gets in from the back, from the front, and here on this edge, a lot of it gets stuck. When you have to wash it often, it's really annoying. This thing, that's a story of its own. X5 has absolutely no problem with the width of the light beam on the G05 variant after the facelift, especially when it has these handy matrix headlights. The brightness is not nearly as good as on the pre-facelift version, and the BMW LED inscription on the side, despite the blue segments remaining in the light, clearly shows that BMW is just cutting costs on us now. Yes, the absence of headlight washers. Winter drives to go skiing are a real hassle. You have to stop when it's snowing a lot at every third or fourth gas station to wipe the headlights like this, and well, they just don't shine as well as they used to. There are things they could have skipped. The dashboard workmanship in the updated version is a whole story in itself. It's not a rock-solid car anymore. I want that to be known. And that's a shame, because the X5 with its other qualities would definitely deserve it. And some of the technical solutions here, when you pick up the car at the showroom or have it for a week-long test, are absolutely great, no problem. But as soon as you use it regularly and it's not getting detailed every week, you realize that on this piano black trim, on the display, on the steering column, there's a kind of dust that just didn't have as many places to settle in older cars. This is definitely something I don't like about it. And look at the armrest workmanship. Do you hear how it creaks? Does it hold? Why? It's a shame, isn't it? Expensive car. At a relaxed pace, and I have to repeat this again, it's great how the mild hybrid technology works. So let's break it down. There's a 48-volt starter generator here, BSG for short. It's connected directly to the engine's crankshaft by a belt and has a power output of about 11 horsepower. It's the one that starts the engine, also stores excess kinetic energy from the spinning engine and crankshaft during braking through energy recovery, and during acceleration, it provides a slight boost, a gentle punch, to the already very brisk and pleasant inline-six diesel. It's simply a bit sharper on the throttle, and as soon as you switch it to sport mode, it's about maybe a good bit better. It's not good at all, you know? It's not a sports car. But suddenly even that big, heavy diesel car actually feels pleasantly responsive for a diesel engine. And I like that. You can simply overtake with it, and it's not about it being really fast. It's not like a super fast car, not even close. It feels strained and pretty out of breath if you really push it hard. But it's about the response. Not about how fast it goes, but about the fact that when you ask for power, the car responds right away. And that's nice. Technically, we're talking about a three-phase synchronous electric motor and at the same time a generator with an inverter. Of course. The battery capacity is 11 amp hours, and in the X5 it's located in the engine compartment close to the firewall, right between the engine and the cabin, for better distribution of the already substantial weight. In this case, the car has two electrical circuits. One is a 48V system, the other is a 12V circuit. And be careful, there's also a DC converter here, of course, so that power from the larger circuit can flow into the smaller one, and you don't keep draining the regular battery that's also in the car. As a result, we have a mechanism with which the X5 equipped like this weighs exactly 2,330 kilograms. That's the wet weight of this diesel version, which is basically the weakest, but in the end, it's still a sufficiently responsive car. And what do I enjoy the most? Again, it comes down to this. I'm also Czech, just like you. And I enjoy it when I can drive and drive and drive and drive the car, and it doesn't consume much fuel. And looking at the current range of 1,100, just so you believe me, I'll stop there. And I've already driven well over 90 kilometers since refueling. And I'll take a picture of it for you like this. Snap. And I apologize for the dusty display, but all the other dust is part of the post-facelift BMW G05. The old interior was so much better, really. Sometimes this is even worse, like making it a special thing. Let's sum it up like this. Why are we in this car, and why am I showing you the X5? It's really simple. For me, this kind of X5, despite its flaws, and there are quite a few, represents a very good compromise between practicality, the size of the car, and extreme safety for all your loved ones who ride in it. And please underline that 3 times because that's what matters most on the road. Traffic is wild. People can't drive. I'm not enjoying it, but that's just how it is. And in the end, it's really a combination of efficient running costs and, let's say, some kind of value in return for what you have. I'm definitely not in a position to be someone who can buy a new car like that. I'm not. I make videos in Czech. That's right. But if you look for a while and get a 1-year-old car, a 10-month-old one, you can get it on much better terms. So it's something that, and I want to emphasize this 20 times, it brings that kind of safety and practicality today, and that's why you see so many X5s when you drive around any biggest city in the Czech Republic. It offers a really appealing balance. So that's my take on the X5. Our car is basically brand new. You really don't have to worry about any issues with its history. That's why I like working with Automotive so much. You can always count on a transparent approach and a clear history. And how many of these X5s are driving around here? A total of almost 24,000. But there are currently 8,563 fourth-generation models. Only 1,807 of these cars are imported. The BMW importer is clearly doing a very good job here. With our engine, it's the most common version. There are as many as 2,836 of these cars. By the way, you've already had the chance to see the more powerful X5M competition in our test. And if you haven't seen it, go ahead and click in the top right corner. The test is worth it. There are 84 of them. Just to remind you, when I'm choosing a used car, I always go through its history. It's really important so I know I'm not spending my money badly. And that's why on the cbia.cz website, I've prepared a discount code MULDIX for you, which will save you some money. And that definitely comes in handy. And we're not done yet. Thanks to the very nice people at Reno Car, where I enjoy both the service and their approach to customers, we can take a detailed look at the real service costs of our X5. Let me remind you, 90 cars here automatically come with an included service package for 5 years or 100,000 kilometers for free. For such a new used car, that's also a very nice bonus. But I'll share the numbers on purpose so you can see that in the end, considering the size of the car we're talking about, it's not that outrageous or expensive to run. To put it simply, let's sum up that the budget for a minor service is just over 11,000 CZK. Feel free to pause the footage so you can study it. On the other hand, for a major service, we're talking about 17,500 CZK. Thanks to the kindness of Mr. Kral, the head of service at one of the Renault Car branches, we also have a complete overview of the costs for brake replacement. They're really big on the X5, or you can check how much something like new brake fluid costs. Just take a look. For me, this is really interesting data you usually don't get when buying a similar car before it's 5 years old. That's important to repeat, but definitely later on. And I'm honest, and I'll be honest with you. I didn't pay for this car. I can tell you that too. Because we've been honest the whole time. And this isn't arranged. I said I'd pretend it's mine. No, it's not mine. I can't afford it. Period. I'll be happy when I can afford it, so please support us so I can buy it. No. We'll buy some equipment to make it even better, but I'm really glad you're with us on this project. And I'm really glad that it's already so advanced that I don't even have to buy it myself. And I can drive it, use it, live and work with it, and send my friends from Automotive more people who'll be happy to buy cars from them and maybe have a bit more money for it. And they'll be satisfied because the service they offer, in my opinion, is great. So thank you very much and see you in the next video. And I'm off, and I won't need to refuel for a long time. And I enjoy that. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. I'd buy it if I could afford it. After this experience, probably yes. And I think that's quite interesting information for you, and honest too. It's a car where quite a few things bother me, but it's a car that, because of the combination we just mentioned and discussed, is very interesting. If you buy it for under 2 million, then definitely yes. And that's a lot of money. So once again, cheers and take care. Bye.